Now, a major part of Labor's election campaign is going to be their electric vehicle policy. Well, if it's going to be a major part, you reckon they would have put a bit more thought into it, wouldn't you? Because the Liberal Party today have called Labor's plan to waive a 5% import tariff on electric cars completely redundant. Joining me now is Tim Wilson. He's the Assistant Minister for Industry, Energy and Emissions. Tim, welcome to the show and Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you and your viewers, Cory.
Thank you. Now, why is Labor's electric vehicles policy already partially redundant?
Well, it's partially redundant because they modelled their plan to get emissions down by 43% by 2030 on a policy that was different from the government, which was that they were going to see a massive increase in the number in the millions of electric vehicles in Australia. And the way they were going to achieve this was by cutting tariffs, essentially, on importing electric vehicles. But as an analysis has been completed, all of the vehicles that they're pretty much seeking to import are already tariff-free under our free trade agreements. So they have no measures that are going to deliver the extra emissions cuts that they claim they're able to deliver. So pretty much after the announcement of their policy, it's already been found to be bunkum.
That's extraordinary, isn't it? It's like the cash for clunkers one they had a little while ago. I got to point out, we did invite Labor people to come onto the show, and we reached out through their organisation, and no one was prepared to come on and talk about this. But electric vehicles, many would say, are the future. They're going to have challenges in Australia, but right now they're less than or fewer than 1% of new car sales last year. Why does Labor think this is going to be good, and how many millions of cars do they reckon they're going to sell?
Well, Labor are projected in the millions of, I think it's about 3.5 million they want to achieve by 2030 under this policy that's just been exposed as a sham. But there's a fundamental difference between the Coalition's approach on getting to lower emissions and Labor's approach. Labor's approach has been, how do we subsidise the wealthy to be able to choose alternative options, whereas what we focused on is how do we build the infrastructure to enable Australians to choose electric vehicles or hydrogen fuel cell vehicles into the future so they can be part of the solution. But when you have a policy like them, where they've banked so much of their policy on electric vehicles and being able to achieve their emissions cuts, and it's, pardon the traditional pun, which be it's all gone up in smoke, but it really has undercut everything that they've put forward. And now the only pathway they could actually try and achieve more is if they start to subsidise Porsches as well.
Which is in the luxury car bracket. Now, yeah. I said before, I think that the future is going to be in electric vehicles. They make a lot of sense in city areas if we've got reliable electricity. But what really made me interested about Labor's policy today, Tim, was that they said they were going to remove tariffs and import duties. Now, I'm all for that. Isn't the way forward for governments to get completely out of the way with less taxes, less regulation on imports, particularly because we don't have a domestic motor vehicle manufacturing platform now?
Well, Cory, my position has always been in favour of removing taxes and tariffs wherever possible. You're seeing off the hymn sheet. And of course, that is part of the conversation. But that's actually what the Coalition is already delivering. And that's why Labor's policy is ineffective. Through free trade agreements, we've actually removed the tariff regimes that exist on imported vehicles. And so that means that it's no longer having the effect that Labor claims it would do.